Hey everybody, welcome to Arch's Garage, and we have a pretty cool engine here. So a quick backstory and I'll tell you what we're going to be doing with it. 190cc, this thing's pretty cool. Very common motor, Intech IC. It's made from two. I got a couple of these, I collected them over a couple of years, and I think it was over the winter, whatever, I kind of came to the point where I'm like, well, these things are so common. This one's got a pulley on it. Used in mini bikes, go-karts, snow blowers, oh my, wood chippers, right? It's a really nice common motor. It's made a few different years. I'm not sure what this one was from. It's not a Snow King version. Sometimes you'll see it'll say Snow King on the front, and it have a little different intake system on it. So one motor made from two. One of them was completely seized up. Looked like it got water in it. Could probably give you a little footage on that, depending on which video. I think one of the videos will have more footage on it than the other. And so two different ones, slightly different years. Got it together working, and so I've got this now on the side, up on the shelf, and something that I can use for whatever the application comes along. Now in this video, we're going to go over the head setup on this thing. I'm going to pull the valves out and go through the valves. As I said, because it was made from two, I had to take the head off, and so I was searching through both systems to try to come up with a good set of valves. This is all on a budget. So we're going to take the valves out, take the head off, clean everything up, you know, hone out the cylinder a little bit, kind of go through all that, show you how to lap the valves. And of course, it's going to be a little bit longer video. Should still be within a budgeted time, but we do have to set up the valves. We got valve lash. So when you remove the head and you go to put a head back on, you're probably going to want to know what to do with setting up the valves. So that is in this video. Valve lash, head removal, head install, valve lap, cleaning of everything, a little bit of honing, all on a budget just to try to revamp it. Now I put some silicone high temp on the head gasket to test this thing out. It's running pretty good, and I'll probably, when I get an application for this thing, I think I even say this at the end of the video, I'll probably pull it, you know, blow it back apart, put a fresh head gasket on it, and then tune it, you know, do all that, tune the carburetor, and, you know, let it live in its new home. And then I know for 100% certain that I got a really good motor. Because so far, like I said, it runs okay, but it needs tuning. So I'm going to want to make sure that when it gets seated into its application, that it's just going to be 100%. So stay tuned. Let's get to the video. All right, let's get started. Now this is the one that's seized. I put a vice grip, like I said, on the shaft on that side, and I couldn't turn it. Let's take off all the stuff. I'm going to work on that, and we'll put all the stuff in this box over here. This is going to be our extras or whatever to complete. We'll get to the carburetor in a minute. All right, let's see what we get. All right, I'll yell it out. seeing anything. We have a stuck valve, maybe? Maybe this motor's dead. You could also try putting my thumb over it, a finger or something, just see. I'm not feeling anything. I mean, I'm not making a seal, but could have a stuck valve, in which case we'll have to pop off the head. Just take a peek in there, or I'll just throw it out. Let's see. Nothing. Blowing out the exhaust. And I think I felt it over here too. Oh, I got a shock. Well, the coil works. All right, so what we have is possibly a stuck valve. We may want to pull the head off the other motor too. Let me work to pull the head off. Okay, looks like we have a valve stuck. So this is sitting at a different height, so I'm not too happy about that. But so this is the exhaust valve. It's your intake. And I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to show you. The rocker moves, so the cam's not broken. This is intake, so that's moving. But it's not moving the exhaust valve. And the question is the exhaust valve, if the cam is moving, the rocker is moving, and let's assume that maybe I don't feel this being loose. So it's trying to push down on the valve, but also the valve is not returning. So, see all that space? So, look. Right? So we need to take the head off. It'll come up for us. Let's see what gives. Yeah. Because you don't really want that in your way. And we don't need to take it off all the way, I don't think. Can we just... Yeah, see? All right, good. Now, so I don't want this to screw up on us, so let's just hand bolt the finger tighten the bolts that came from there back down. All right. This gasket's a little bit cornholed. We might be able to get another gasket. Might even need a head gasket, so we might need a gasket kit. It depends. It's coming. I think this is going to come out. Okay, I don't know if one's different than the other. Generally, no. Okay. Yeah, we're going to need a gasket. We're going to need a head gasket. Push rods look the same. Yeah, see, she's stuck open. See? She's stuck open. Now, that might be repairable. Let me take a deep look in the cylinder here. I'm not seeing a lot. I don't see anything. I see some staining. And a little bit of scoring, but let me get a tissue in that. And we'll come back in and take a deeper look, but it's not jumping out at me. So he's just got a little bit of staining, and there is a small score right there, right? And I'll put my finger on it. I can kind of catch it with my fingernail. Generally speaking, you don't want that. We could put a quick hone in it, maybe clean this up, or a little bit of sandpaper just to cross-hatch it a little. It must have got a little bit dry. I just freed up the valve. I should have done this first, because that's something that you can do. So the valve is free. It's just a bit of junk in there, and you lubricate it well, and then what we could do is we could put it back together again. Put a little gasket sealer on it, a little high temp sealer on it, put it back together, and put the carburetor on it and run it. And if it'll run for a while, we can determine if the motor is okay. And I don't have a use for it right now, but if the motor's running good and we get some different oil in it and run it up for a little bit and get it warm, make sure nothing's sticky, we can always order a gasket for it when I have a use for it. And then I have a carburetor, I'll go get the gasket, and she'll be a runner. So let's try that. I washed everything off outside, but we can see this is shot, right? Look at the crustaceans. Hey, what's wrong with you? There we go. It's shot, and it's just climbing in there. Won't move. It's not going to move. This is no... Look at that. You know, that's not good. Crunchies. Look at the crunchies in there. And this is just as bad. Right? But I got the gasket off. It's not great, but it's not fully damaged. Like, so this is the one that's... We're missing a lot of the good material, you know, especially around the combustion zone, the hot zone. But this one is a little different. It's just square, but everything lines up. And we're still going to put a little high temp RTV around it. Hey, you know what? It's worth it. It's worth trying that out. Just to see, like I said, if the motor runs well and everything. Let me throw this out. This is the oil that came out of it. So, you know, this motor's been just hosed down. I got some other parts that I needed, which is good. This plate's not bad. I don't know how you would get it off. I might want to take it. However I can get it off. I think if we just take this off here, slip this up. What happens on some of these motors, and particularly the, like I mentioned earlier, particularly motors in, you know, snowblower engines and everything, it's basically the same. Even some of the ones that are generators, this whole plate gets really rusty and then it causes problems. But usually you can just, you know, fool around with it a little bit, get it cleaned up, and a little acid on it, a little bit of paint or whatever, and it's usually not a problem. So let me throw this outside. I'm going to take a break, throw this stuff out, and I'll be back in a little bit, and everything's drying outside, and then we're going to start putting the motor together again. We got to go over the head, right? We're going to clean the head up, and we're going to polish up the valves a little bit, and then we'll put it back together. All right, fellas, we're going to start off with the head. We're going to go over the head nice. But before I do that, this gasket's in pretty good shape, but I think what we'll do is we'll improve its performance a little bit. Since I mentioned the idea of we'll use a bit of high temp silicone. And I want to put it on now because this way, by the time we're ready to install it, make sure we get it into any area that has been slightly, you know, damaged. I cleaned everything off. I just wiped it with a bit of brake cleaner. And the towel, you know, tissue, so we don't have any debris. Generally, you need time, 15, 20 minutes, let it skin. And then even then, right, you still want to give it a bit more time. Now the rest of it's in great shape, so I don't think we'll have any issues leaking, but we're just around the fire ring. We don't want to make it too thick because we don't want to cause a problem because it's too thick. That should do it. All right, let's just leave that. We put that away, and then we're going to get started on, you know, just put it over somewhere out of the way. Let's just grab a wire brush. We'll clean this whole head up. Oh yeah, it's pretty gooky. That should do it. Right? That looks pretty good. We'll rinse it off in a bit. Just remove some of this. And then we'll clean that up on something else, maybe. We'll see. Yeah, I don't think we have to. Maybe just run the wire wheel gently over it when we're done. I don't want to really scratch the head. I'm going to take one of my cookies, and sort of a used one, and just go over it. That's like polishing it more than anything else. It's actually not even aggressive enough. Let me try the other one because there's still material there. I want one that's more used. You know, kind of on its way out because I don't want it to be aggressive. That's better. That should do it. Now, let me give it a wash. Okay, so basically everything is almost identical here. And to get this off, all we really need to do is, and hopefully we'll be able to do it, we should be able to push down on the keeper and slide it over. Okay. And then the valve should come out. Even if it is sticky. Yeah, it's sticky, all right. Oh, I don't want to go. Yeah, there must be some stuff up here too. Yeah, it's here as well. All right, something's locking it. Yeah. Let's try the other one. Just push down and slide it over to that slot. Come here, you. Turn it if you have to. Let's see how this one oh, that one's sharp. Yep, see, that comes right out. Okay, so that's what we want, right? We want to get this exhaust valve deloused. Let's put some two-stroke over here. I wonder if there's anything here that's causing a problem. We'll take a little bit of crocus. This is getting old now, which is good. And we're just gonna see if we can turn the valve, or can we turn the valve? No. All right, so what we'll have to do, try to hold on to it and just do this and see if there's a burr that's catching. Anything we can do to clean this part of the valve. We may have to take that rocker off, but I don't want to. Let's buzz these off. The rockers are the same. Let's buzz these off. Let me get a socket for that. We're just going to pull them right off. That way they're not in our way. We'll go through it. I'm not going to get lazy. We'll check everything. And now we can work this a little bit more. Let's push it up and work it again. You know, right in this area here is where it's getting tight. That should do it. Must be some piece of junk somewhere getting stuck. So we need to drive it down. Let's try with my little lead hammer. Lead or brass. Push it back in again. And again, this is just some two-stroke, or you can use the tranny fluid mix, because that stuff's really good. It's got detergents in it, so it's really good at relieving carbon. Yep. Oh, yep, there. See how nice that is? Look at that stuff. Yeah. Oh, yeah, she'll come out. That's a keeper. And that went over here. That is a intake valve seal. We should probably steal one off of the other head. It might be useful. See how dirty that is? All right, it's all carbonized. We can run this on the wire wheel. Bit of carbon and some bit of rust, but it looks like the valve is decent. That's not bad. There's some carbon and junk in there. I'm going to rinse this off one more time. Just going to put my brush in there, a soft brush, and then I'll decarbonize this valve. And here's our intake with some junk on it. And I'll run this over the wire wheel too. And then we're going to lap them. All right, make sure that they're sealing up for us because there's some junk on it. And that'll clean the seats. All right, just going to take here, I got a nice little round wire brush. I don't want to hit the seats so much, but we'll just scrape a little bit of the carbon off this way. Yeah, that's quite a bit. All right, it doesn't have to be mint. It's going to have to be cleaned one more time. After we get, look, we can get in there. Let me get a thinner brush. We'll get into the valve guide. Because when we put the valve grinding compound on, we're going to have to wash it. Wash it off. And that's nice. We'll just run this in there. Oh, we could use the bigger one. And that'll pull out whatever carbon's up in that valve guide. All right, let me blow this off. And we're gonna lap the valves next. All right, I clean these up on the wire wheel, you know, on the grinder thing. And if you need to do this, you could just do it by hand, right? But don't use anything abrasive. This has got some pitting on it. And that's not good, that intake valve. That's going to be a problem. I see it. It really needs to be ground. I wonder if we could get the intake valve out of the other head. I put that outside. It was our exhaust valve, though, that was causing us problems. So what we're going to do first... Yeah, I might want to go. I think I put it out. I put it outside in the garbage pile, but we'll go get it and we'll see if we can break it apart. But it's not going to be perfect, but we'll see. Let's see if we can get some of this stuff out. If there's anything left in here, we don't need very much. It needs to be mixed with some water. I got to buy some more. There might be some in here. I don't need much. I just need enough to mix with some water. Let me try that. I got some out. It's kind of more like a paste. Just put a little bit on the valve. Drop the valve in. You don't want to get it in the valve guide. And then because we can grab it with the drill, we're going to, because it's going to be a lot easier. Good. All right, we're going to run it in. Just moving in and out a few times, it sort of reseats and resets the valve grinding compound. I think it's running out. You can hear it, it stops making a cutting sound. Let's take a look, and what we're looking for is a ring, a complete ring, unbroken, and I think I already see it. See it? That looks good. Now, what are we going to get on the... Yeah, it's there. The camera may not show it, but if it's missing, I would do it one more time, but with some fresh. But let's take a look at the seat. Well, that's looking good. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's all gray. That's nice. There's a little bit of pitting over here that I can see. You're not going to be able to see it. Again, I'm going to do it one more time. Now, I don't know if that valve's going to do it, but it looks kind of chewy. Yeah, it's chewy in this area here. And if I can grab it with my nail. Yeah, you need to grind that. Let me see if I can get the other valve out. I got it out. It doesn't look good, but let's see what happens when we clean it up, right? You never know. I'll run this one on the wire wheel. And at first blush, right, you'd think, oh, no way, it was also rusty, but you just don't know. All right, let me run it, let me clean it up, and we'll see. All right, what we need is a seal. This is all mostly, I don't know if that's rust or what, but that's not an area where we care about. And down here, it's not so much where we care about the face. It's not as bad. The rust is here, which is not a problem. It's a little bit down here, but I don't see a whole lot on the face. So let's load it up. All right, because I don't have a valve grinder. If I had a valve grinder, I would keep the other one. All right, they're kind of expensive. When you can find them, most people don't do it anymore. Even we used to do. When I was younger and I took a course in it, we actually would get valves new and put a little bit of lubricant in that, and you'd check them and run it through the grinder real quick, and you'd be surprised. Right, they needed help. All right. I'm seeing a ring. I think that'll work. Whereas the other one, I don't think so. Not when I can kind of almost feel pitting right on the face. That looks good. All right, guys, what I'm going to do... Yeah. I know you're not going to be able to see it, but... I mean, we could try it. Let's just try it. All right, I got a little bit of material on there. You just want it enough to where it sticks on. Sometimes you put a little detergent on it. Anything will moisten it, even a drop of that stuff. It's cutting better, actually, with that little bit of lubricant on it. I can hear it. That's about it. Yeah, that little bit of lubricant helped. I might have to get a magnifying glass, but... Yep, right there. Oh, yeah. Hear it? My fingernail's grabbing it. That'll leak. You'll have reversion. It'll fart back, and it'll fight us. Okay, I'm going to mix, put a little bit more on, put the valves in. I'm going to go over them, and then I'm going to clean everything out off, and then we'll go over everything and kind of put everything back together again. We'll be busy. All right, looks good. Hopefully you can see it. It's hard to focus in on this kind of stuff because of the shiny. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put a little bit of oil in there. A little bit of oil in there. This is just good thick oil. And we'll put a little bit on the valve seat. Nothing fancy. Okay, now we'll take some oil and put it on the valve stem. So the area where it rides is not a problem. It's just a good thick oil, by the way. Just get it all over the valve. We don't need much. Okay. And this one gets a valve seal because it's intake. Exhaust doesn't matter because if oil leaks in, it's just going to blow right out. But if it leaks into the intake, it will burn in the combustion chamber and it will cause problems and fouling and smoke and it's just going to make a mess. Valve spring should be the same. I don't think there's no difference in any of these. Yeah, they're the same. Let's just press it in. Now, if you have an issue, right, hold it from underneath and just go forward. Get down enough, and then we should be able to go forward if we can get it in the right spot at the right time. These are a little bit more, these are a little harder because they're heavier springs than the smaller ones. The idea is to get it down deep enough. It's here, all right? Now, deep enough, that's it, see? Same thing with the exhaust, which is the smaller valve. And we just need a little bit to start up with. Just a little bit of lubricant to get everything started. That's it. All right, we're ready to put this on. We'll put the valve caps on later. All right, they're load spreaders. Some people call them rotators. I don't know, I've built a lot of motors in my day. Ford, Chevys, Pontiac, Chryslers. Some people call them rotators. They don't really rotate. They're lash caps. Don't lose them when you take this stuff apart. What they really are is a load spreader, because if there's any misalignment in the core, right, you can have a problem. So if there's shift and the rocker arm goes to lay on it, right, it won't ride necessarily in the center. It'll ride off to the side or whatever, and it's just not enough room, and it can lean and it can cock the valve, and then you got a problem. And wear everything weird. This just provides a lot more surface area. Let's go. Let's put this on. Where are the head bolts? Okay, so these are fairly clean. I'm gonna just run this over the wire wheel real fast, and then we're gonna oil them with just the same. It's a thick weight. It's like a 20 weight or something oil. Just a good thick oil. Make sure they're clean, and then we'll get our head gasket that we prepped, and we'll get this installed. Looks good. All right, I'm just going to take a minute and we'll get off this old gasket, and I'll polish it with that tool. We don't want this stuff really getting in. Let's get our tool. The tool. Don't be a tool. All these hoses. There's still a little bit of residue. Yeah, it's a very soft material, so especially in these areas where it really doesn't matter, right? That's like gasket area, whereas the fire ring is around here, but that should do it. This will help clean up the cylinder walls a little. I really wish I had a ball hone. I gotta get one. But this one's got some broken stones on it, so we'll use this one. And it should be fine. We're just gonna spin it in slow. It's a little messed up, this thing, but it'll work. We don't need much. Oh yeah, it's working already. Just let it spin a little bit. All right, we're not worried about a crosshatch right now. Yeah, that's good. All right, I think that's enough. Now we'll try to put a little bit of crosshatch in, just by moving it in and out, slowly. Okay. We'll just try to get a little bit of crosshatch in there. We're not looking to polish a turret here. Let's take a look. It doesn't require much, just a little bit. And you say, well, all that stuff is going in. Look, this, what do you think you got here, right? What do we think we're working with? Yeah, that's good. We gotta flush it out and blow it out. We'll change the oil later. Oh yeah. Yeah, that helped a lot. That cleaned that up a lot. It needs a little bit more, just a little bit. Because we don't have a lot of room to put a good crosshatch, but we'll get something to help it. And the rings will hit these new scratches and they'll clean up a little bit. I think that might do it. Yeah, that's much better than it was. Let's see. Oh yeah. Oh wow, that's much better. And that little scratch over there, it's almost gone. And the better motors had a steel sleeve, so you can't get a lot from aluminum. You're not gonna, not gonna make it super sweet, but that cleaned up much better. Here's an old piece of used 400. Probably a little too fine. A little solvent. It doesn't take much, especially because it's aluminum, but you're working with like a very small surface. Turn it so that the crease isn't in your way. The folds of the paper. That's probably it. Yeah, that's it. We'll take a look. Oh yeah, that's clean. That's way better than it was. I'll show you. I'll get you in with this camera and the other camera. See, staining is mostly gone. There's very little ridge. The cylinder wall cleaned up. Don't forget, it's going to wear, right? So, see a little bit of junk. Now, got it out. Blow it again. How much? Like that. It's a nice shape. Okay, now to kind get a little lubricant in here, we're going to take some of our tranny fluid mix and I'm going to go around first and spin it up a little bit, move it around, and that'll help loosen it up. See, it's actually picking up some yuck. Okay, well, that should do it. It'll blow right out. Now, one more thing. For startup purposes, we're going to take our thick oil. All right, this is our thick motor oil. It's pretty thick. It's like 2050 or something, like I said before. And just kind of go around. There you go. Get out whatever we can of it. All right, that'll pick up a little bit more of the junk. Okay. It's trying to throw off whatever's on the rings too. That'll pick up a little bit more of that debris. Throw a little bit more oil in, just a little. And that should do it. Run it up. And it'll blow it out. That's good. All right, we'll leave the rest in there. And I can see it's leaving a line. I'm hoping that line, if you can see it, is from the gap, ring gap. Let me get the other camera in here, and everything else is good. I cleaned it all off. Gasket surface is clean. All right, if you want, put a little bit of fresh oil down on your lifter. You can. All right, let that do its thing. Since this thing's been probably a little dry, let's get the head. Let's move it down a little bit. All right, since it's getting towards the end of the day, guys, it's just perfect, right? Because this is, tacked up and everything. It's not cured yet. Now we got a little bit of a ring around here. I don't like that. Right in that area, I didn't see that. I'm gonna cut that off and we should be okay. I think that's a bit too much right there. But it might blow out of the way. It'll push out of the way. Worst case is it'll get picked up in here and it'll blow right out. Because it's the only place it can go. But you see, it goes like that. Right, yeah, I'm not too happy with that. It should get blown out of the way. It's still kind of fresh. And so now we're going to take our nice thick weight oil. I like to use this sometimes as assembly oil. And just liberally coat the threads with a nice thick weight. You can use other greases and stuff, but you know, for a motor like this, right, we're not building anything special here. We don't even know if it's going to work. But the idea is that we're throwing a motor together from parts and, you know, recycling, as it were. So we've lined this up. We got that hole right there, see? And the head intake on this side, exhaust up top, right? I had another gasket, which I put some RTV on, and I'm actually cleaning the exhaust muffler just a little bit. We'll spray it just a little bit. I didn't get crazy with it at all. What do you mean, Arj? We'll see. All right, so we know we're this way, and this thing, we've already cleaned our head. It's nice. Drop your pins. I'll hold your gasket on like so. Looking in the camera. All right, that'll hold everything for us. It lines up. Okay. And then we'll torque this. We'll tighten it, and then we'll torque it. Yeah, everything looks good. It should lay on there, right? See, because it's got the pins. Now let me see how this feels, because sometimes you got to run a tap in these things, but let me see how it feels. Let me get a ratchet wrench. Should be 10 millimeter. Yeah. Let me get my stubby. I'm going to run everything in by hand. Feeling good. All right, let's just snug it. Just want to feel it. All right, what I want to do now, all right, is either bolt or clamp the motor down to the table, okay? And then we're gonna bring it home. All right, we're going to take this up to about 200 inch-pounds, so I'm going to start off at 100. I just snugged them. I'm just going to go in a cross pattern. All right, we're already up at 100. All right, that one needed a little bit. Perfect. Now let's go to about 175, maybe. We'll take it a little higher. We're at 150. See how it tolerates it. Perfect. Nice. Okay, now we'll go to, yeah, this thing, I'm surprised it's that high, but yeah, it's about 200. Maybe we'll bring it to about 200. Let's see how it feels at about 175. Nice and slow. Oh, might need another clamp on this. Yeah, let me do that. I also put a bigger clamp on too. There we go. That's good. Oh. This is the right size. Let me see. Some of this stuff is metric and some of it isn't. I don't think it's metric. That one isn't. This is 3/8. Yeah. He said bolt to 3/8. This 10 millimeter, then this 3/8. You know, make up your mind. All right, let's just go over it again. Okay, good. 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 All right, we'll bring it up to Maybe we'll go like 205, because some of the motors are 200, 205. It really doesn't matter, even with some of the bigger ones, as long as they're not too big. Let's go take it up to 205, and we'll stop there. Yeah, that's about 205. Yeah. Yeah. We don't want to break it. Perfect. Okay, check them again. I'll recheck the torque spec online, but most of these are the same. Any of the OHVs, overhead valve motors with this size bolt. Okay, we're done. And tomorrow we'll come back. That's great, because that'll give that gasket sealer a chance to really set. That's 24 hours. It will be cured. And it's still a little pliable right now. I see a little bit oozing out in a few spots. That's perfect. That's what we want. I'm going to go finish up what I was doing with the exhaust and put that aside. Also, the cover plate. There's two different cover plates. I'll show you guys. There's this cover plate's from the other motor. On some of these engines, there's part numbers here. Okay, on this engine, the part numbers on this cover plate, it's just a little rustier, so I'm cleaning it. Also, the some of the motors, right? The part number, or the model number, is over here in serialization. On the valve cover, not the case on this particular model. And also, and the last thing on this particular model, I'm going to show you guys on this cover, which is for this one, there is a number over here, family number. All right, so pretty simple to figure that out. We can't bolt this down until we slip that cover on, and we'll get the exhaust on. But what we'll do next is we'll set up the rocker arms next. And we'll set up the rocker arms, and then we can put the rocker cover on and the exhaust on and the plate and all that other stuff, and we'll tighten that up. And then we'll go to the igniter next. Just let it warm up. Oh, yeah, it doesn't like that yet. It doesn't like a throttle change yet. Don't know why. We might need to mount it to something that doesn't make so much noise. Now, we may have to pull this carburetor out and open up the jet. But what we really want to find out is it leaking at all? And that's one thing we want to check. We might have to drill the jet on this carburetor because it's bogging when we nail it, right? It shouldn't do that, and that means that it's not getting enough fuel, enough enrichment. But we definitely need to run it longer to find out if we can check the plug, and it's not hot. I want to check the oil. It's getting warm. All right, I'm going to check a few things, let it cool down a little bit to handle, and then, you know, because the muffler, and we'll put the side covers on and stuff, and we'll start doing the plumbing to the carburetor. Okay, so now I have a nice 5 horsepower overhead valve engine, a little bit more modern for a project. 2 motors into one, and this motor needed, you know, quite a bit of work, but I think it's a worthy project, and it came out nice. It's running real good. I'm not going to tune the carburetor yet, guys. I'm going to wait either for to see what the motor is going to be put in, right? Is it going to be under load, or is it going to be like this, running like this? And then when you goose it, you know, and then you put the load on, we don't know. I don't know what the application is. So I don't want to tune it yet for that. But, you know, I guess at some point maybe I'll do a video on that. I also may do a video in the future on just installing a HIPAA carburetor on one of these units, these engines. So that might be another video, just starting from like this point, and show people out there that, you know, you got carburetor problems, it's not running good. Here's how to take all this stuff apart and put the carburetor on. But that was not this project, and I do want to say again, thank you for Nina and over at HIPAA and helping us out on this. We needed a carburetor. That carburetor was locked solid, right, from Chuck. So I'm really happy. We got a motor. Put it on the shelf over there. I'm going to clean up a little bit, and I want to thank you guys for watching. It all came out really good. So I'll see you next time on Archer's Garage.